Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brothers Take podcast. This is the podcast where three brothers largely discuss gaming, but we also branch off into some of our other interests like movies and music. I am Chris, and I'm joined today by my brothers, Adam
Hello.
and Eric.
Hello.
I said that like as if I have other brothers and that these are the two brothers who are joining me today, but actually, no, this is it. This is the whole package.
Did you only
This is it. Two. This is what you get every week. Welcome to the Brothers Take, everyone. In today's episode, our main topic is basically going to be a Sony rumor mill around. There's talks about a PS5 Pro possibly coming next year, as well as Project Spartacus being unveiled during the week. So those are the two main things that we'll be talking about, but there's a couple of other things we're going to talk about as well, including giving our thoughts on that deleted Batman scene, which made its way onto YouTube during last week. Given that we did a full spoiler discussion of the Batman, we thought we might as well give our thoughts on that as well. And a couple of other little topics too. So if at any point you want to jump in and share your thoughts on anything that we bring up during the discussion and you watch this on YouTube, please do jump down into the comments to share your thoughts. And while you're here, why not give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click that notification bell because we would really, really appreciate it. And if you're listening to us on audio platforms, please follow, and you could also touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to give your take on anything that we bring up here today. But without further ado, let's cue that music. Speaking of music, I just want to put that out there first. I want to acknowledge that. I think that's a big thing in the music world. We record ahead of time, and at time of recording, literally this morning, news broke that Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of the Foo Fighters, and previously Alanis Morissette, has passed away. There's no news as to what caused the passing, but he was only 50 years old. At this time. Yeah, at time of recording. Maybe there'll be further information by time this is out, but just want to acknowledge that he was an incredible musician and a huge inspiration to a lot of people, and not only are his fans going to be devastated, but I think the music world in general is going to be devastated. So just want to acknowledge that, and rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins. But before we jump into like the big main topics today, then why don't we start with the Batman teaser, which made its way online last week. I know there was talks about, Matt Reeves had said that there was a deleted scene and that at some point we would see it. I didn't think we'd see it this soon, though.
No, I thought this was going to be the thing that, you know, if you solve the riddles on the website, Ratlada, is that what it's called? Ratlada.com?
Oh, yeah.
Ratlada. I thought that would be the...
It is.
Oh, that is the...
Right, no. So there's a couple of things. So... And obviously, once someone solves it, they share it. So then it gets shared publicly. So as soon as someone solves the riddles, the world gets it, right? Whether they took part in the riddles or not. So there was actually, I didn't realize they were going to do it. It seems like they're going to do this with a couple of things because the ratlada.com, if anyone doesn't know, it's a website out there at the moment. You can go on and it'll give you 3 riddles. They're kind of difficult and you have to try solve them. And then it'll reveal something. So the first round of it actually revealed a picture and it said Riddler Year 1.
Yeah, I saw
and that was revealing that, Paul Dano is writing a Riddler comic, which is that's interesting. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
And then they did another round of it, which unveiled this deleted scene. So I feel like they're going to do the reveals through that website, like later on as well. Like maybe that's when they'll reveal the release date for the Blu-ray or something like that.
This seems backwards, actually.
Right.
In some degree. Like, obviously, the Ratlada is not... You're not going to really get it unless you've seen the film. But this feels like promotional material leading up to a movie.
I know, yeah.
Like, that deleted scene could work as a almost like a teaser, couldn't it?
Yeah. Like a little short film in itself.
Yeah. Leading up to the
I totally get you. And I think, Eric, you said that as well, didn't you? Like, that this probably should have been promo beforehand.
Yeah, well, like
were
I mean,
talking about it.
I didn't know exactly because I didn't look at the riddles, I didn't solve them or anything like that. So, but when you were saying it to me, I was a bit like, that seemed like something that yes would be promotion, kind of like when you had the Matrix being released and there was all the stuff going, what is the Matrix? Or when the
Yeah.
Carrie when Carrie was being released, the like the new version, it's obviously not new now, but at the time the remake of Carrie, they had like YouTube videos of a girl like freaking out in a coffee and the whole place went everything went everywhere. Like that's what it seemed like. But
Yeah.
then you were also talking about if they did do that, it might solve the riddle URL.
Yeah, so I
Mhm.
think how it naturally like I agree that it makes sense as a lead up
Promotional piece.
promotional thing, but I think it actually happened the other way around where it's like the website is the answer to a riddle in the movie, spoiler alert. And then there's enough people, like I did it myself, curious, going, I wonder if you look that website up, is it real?
Mm.
And if enough people do that, there's probably top prices like, oh, we probably should put something there because that would probably interest the fans. So then you put up a website, right? But then you're like, oh, but there's nothing on the website. We might as well use this website now.
Mhm.
So kind of, but I totally get it. Like it probably would have worked better as like a lead up in terms of teasers. But I also really enjoyed that sneeze in the background.
Oh, you heard that?
It's really good. But what did we think of the actual deleted scene?
Um,
I'll let Adam go first there because he's got some his cogs are thinking like his,
Yeah,
his
look
ears
at
in his head
he's
are
like,
moving like
it's like, how do I say this
without being lynched?
I
think
wasn't
you'd get
I wasn't
lynched.
mad on it. It's very like a scene that already exists. I can see why it was cut, and it's very like the when he goes in to see the Riddler. It's almost as if they shot the Batman kind of plate, and they just swapped out for a Joker. Nearly, it's almost
Right.
even the way he approaches the screen. It's almost identical,
Mhm.
and then they're doing a lot of that kind of out of focus thingy that we kind of saw with Zach exploring with the Joker too, which is kind of cool because it gives you that weird kind of obscure, like almost a silhouette of the Joker before you get the final reveal, I guess, of what he looks like. And then I really don't. I'm not sold on this like look for him either. I quite like the hair. What they did there, like it looks like, the chemicals, if that is the origin that they're going with, has had a severe impact on his, even proteins and stuff like failing and his hair falling out. But it's like it's just a little bit over the top with the face, and I think it's unfortunate that like with once you get to Heath Ledger, now it's always like we need to try and not top it, but at least it's getting more extreme. And I think I prefer the approach with Joaquin, just kind of, just
Dial it back to the clown, right?
yeah, because
Embrace that kind of appearance.
I think you're kind of limit yourself a little bit with this. One, I felt that his performance was being somewhat limited by the amount of prosthetics,
Right.
and because it almost sounded like when he was speaking that it's like a guy talking through a mask nearly. And now I imagine with a mouth like that, you probably find it difficult to speak anyway. But it almost had that kind of like passing through layers as opposed to like a difficulty speaking. And so it could have probably benefited more from utilizing CGI on the face rather than makeup, in a similar way that The Witcher is using it for its creatures. So one thing that
Or like the mouth of Sauron from the Lord of the Rings.
yeah,
Where like the splits and stuff around the mouth and everything. I don't know. I think
like there's
that
a
could have been
good,
interesting.
considering how little CGI is in the film, if all your effort is only on this one shot, I mean, they did Planet of the Apes, which looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
They can definitely do it.
Those apes are real. There was no CGI in those movies. They trained the apes to do that. It's incredible.
So I think a combination of I maybe there is a little bit of CGI in there, but it didn't look like it. It looked like it was heavy prosthetics, and it kind of limited. It just elongated the face in a very strange way. That you kind of wonder like, what did he look like beforehand? And then this
Looks
Joker,
like Barry Keoghan.
and then this Joker, like is there a Harley in this Joker's life at some point? I can't see that working, if I'm gonna be honest.
Right, he doesn't seem charming or charismatic enough to maybe entice anyone of any kind of intellectual kind of thinking. Like, she was a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Like, would she fall in love with a figure like this? I don't know. But then you can't help who you fall in love with. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she will.
Yeah. I think I just overall I felt that it was very much almost the Elephant Man. It's a monster locked up.
Right.
Right, which would work better for the likes of, like, if you went to see Clayface or Killer Croc or something, if you're having the monster in the tank. Yeah, I like how it was shot, but I can see
Shot beautifully.
Shot really well. And yes, having the sort of distorted look. And part of me, like, throughout the whole thing, I was like, oh, are they going to show him? Oh, I can't wait to see what he looks like. But then, yeah, after I saw him, I was a bit like, actually kind of wouldn't have minded that they left you wondering what he looked like, because it would add to that mystery of who is the Joker. If you never really get to see him. But yeah, again, like what you said, Adam, I can see why Matt Reeves said it himself. The reason he took that scene out was because it was way too similar to the scene with the Riddler later on, and he didn't want the Joker to take away from the Riddler.
Yeah, okay.
But what I would have just done then was take out the Joker altogether, because the only scene in the movie is the only scene he had in the movie is cringy and shit.
Yeah, I will. This is a better.
It's a better
Joker
scene. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
definitely,
for sure.
like 100%, definitely a better scene. It's but it's not necessary. And you're right. The other one also wasn't necessary.
No, like if you had to choose between the two, choose the one where Barry Keoghan gets to show off his skill of being the Joker and the whole kind of Hannibal Lecter Red Dragon sort of thing going on, which is cool.
Yeah.
Leave out the cringy little let's make a league of our own. Oh ho, we'll be clowns together. Leave that out.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, not overly a fan of the entire look, to be honest.
Okay.
Even the hair was a bit much for me. I looked at it and went, all right, very clearly they're going for the vats, they're going for the chemicals, which is fine. But at the same time, it's like, I can clearly tell as well, you're just trying to do Heath Ledger times 100 or something with the scars.
Right.
And it's kind of like...
Yeah, but don't you want to know how he got those scars?
Well, this one we know. It's probably the chemicals. It's probably the chemicals, and it's probably Batman's fist to his face a couple of times.
Yeah. Couple of hundred times.
Like, his face is probably swollen from being...
I do think it's interesting... the hint at a relationship between them in terms of, like, in the context of this universe of Batman, where he's only been around 2 years, but he already has a relationship where he feels like he could go and talk to the Joker and be like, I want to hear your input on this. That we've never seen in the movies before.
No.
In terms of, like,
the scene
is Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, the scene is great.
Yeah.
The scene is really,
I thought
really
the scene was really good. I thought Barry was pretty good in the scene, actually, because I really, I'll be honest, he's a good actor, but I did not have high hopes when I heard that he would be playing the Joker. I have to say, I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, because in anything I've seen him in, his Dublin accent comes out pretty strong, and it's usually fine because usually that works for the character that he's playing. But I was like, I don't see Dublin accent on the Joker. I don't see that. So, but he didn't really have it. So I was like, this is pretty good. Yeah, I think it is a bit much, the prosthetics, and like even like the fingers that are bleeding and stuff. I was like, oh, that's disgusting. It's like, what the hell?
Well, no, I
constantly biting his nails and stuff, or what's he doing? But I do think that the scene left enough to the imagination where you can be like, oh, like, I can nearly write my own story about how they met or what happened or does he bite his nails. And I think the only thing that really didn't work for me, and I get why the scene was left out of the actual movie for all the reasons that you guys have said, but the thing that really doesn't work for me is his laugh.
Okay.
I don't think the laugh is good.
No, it's not. It's not as good as some of the other ones that we've seen.
I don't like it at all. I didn't like it in the actual movie as well when it was in it. I was like, oh god, like that was the cringiest part. I was like,
It feels fake.
You
doesn't it?
gotta
Forced.
nail the laugh. Like the laugh is so important to the
The
character.
laugh kind of reminded me of, especially, I think, well, for me, I didn't mind the laugh so much in the interrogation scene or the counseling scene that we saw. Those on YouTube. But the laugh really didn't work for me when first seeing the movie in the film, because the scene's already really cringy, and then his laugh sounds like something that's straight out like the Gotham or like CW show or something like that.
And I think that's the thing.
He reminds
isn't it?
me of kind of the Gotham Joker.
Yeah, and there's a bit of. I'm actually pretty shocked, to be honest, by how much praise this scene's getting. Maybe just because it's a bit extra and it's like, you're just hungry for more.
Yeah.
But I do think the Gotham Joker gets a lot of praise too, which I was never a fan of, actually. It was kind of cool how they first introduced him, I thought. Not that I liked his backstory, but just the way the actor flips.
Yes.
That's a cool moment. But from there on, I actually don't like that Joker. And the way he's portrayed. Yeah, it's like, I don't believe for a second that you're actually a threat.
I gotta give credit to Cameron Monaghan. I think he did a really good job with a portrayal of the Joker, and I think
portrayal.
Yeah, I think the show of Gotham's biggest problem is it's awful writing. Like, it's terrible.
If you want, it's terrible writing.
You don't give the Joker a backstory around and have him follow Bruce Wayne around, and it's like, this is the wrong time. Joker does not come along until Batman. Right? It's the wrong time.
His performance with the Joker is incredibly inconsistent throughout. There's 3 performances.
Yes, but there's a recent comic book called The 3 Jokers.
Yeah.
Like, Joker has been inconsistent. I don't think that's, to be fair, that's okay.
Well, I don't think from the one actor.
No, but from the comic books.
Yeah.
Like, the character, that's an okay take, actually, that he keeps changing. That's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, because I think there is some, like theories or something that Joker has, like, I think they called it super sanity or something like that. It's obviously just fan theory, like,
sure,
where he's actually so sane that he can change his entire persona like that. So then he's completely different.
That sounds like the most insane.
That sounds insane.
Insane in the member.
Yeah. I actually,
anyway, scene was shot very well.
Yeah. When I first saw it, like, I was excited to see this type of scene, but it's too similar, like a straight up plagiarism, actually, of Manhunter, of Will Graham going to see Hannibal. And in seeing it now, I just think that the Joker isn't the guy you would go to consult.
It'd be really like Hugo Strange, to be honest.
Yeah, like I think there's other characters you would use. I don't think I would use the Joker.
That's why I wonder what is the relationship between those two, and maybe there is something interesting in year one. I can't see them making a film about that, but I could see them maybe expanding on that in a side comic book or something like that, in the same way as they're expanding on the Riddler in year one. And if they do a comic book on it, I'll pick it up. I'll read it. I'm interested enough to see what this version of that relationship is. I thought it was a fine scene, but I understand why it was left out of the film. And to be honest, I would have left out the other one as well, the other Joker scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Just let the Riddler have his.
Yeah, let the Riddler have his day.
I think I'm kind of just a little disappointed that Joaquin isn't the Joker for this.
Yeah, I know. I look at,
because I think that would have been a much better.
That would have been incredible, but yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. Let us know, guys, what you thought of this deleted scene from the Batman. If you haven't seen it yet, it is up on YouTube everywhere, and there's all sorts of reactions to it as well. But and let us know what you think of this depiction of the Joker. Do you want to see him in future Batman installment movies? I'm sure he will be in them. Whether he plays the main villain or not, maybe he will play this kind of role where Batman goes to see him again. I don't know. But let us know what you think anyway. I suppose to segue from a DC product into gaming just for a moment, other news broke out last week from Rocksteady that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been officially delayed to 2023. I think it was only the last episode or the episode before where we figured that would happen. And then they could have announced it. Is anyone shocked or surprised at that?
I am heartbroken. I was so forward to that game.
No.
Because it looked so fun.
We sound like a bunch of negative fucking Nancy's, you know that?
We do.
Like,
well,
I hated that scene, and I.
No. In fairness, the scene is very well done. It's really well shot. It's really well acted. It's really well scripted.
Yeah.
It's just literally because we grew up with the character of the Joker. We grew up with like Mark Hamill's. We grew up with
we're the only
John
ones as well.
DiMaggio's.
You know,
Yeah.
we are the only people who grew up with the
No.
Joker.
No, obviously other people did, but I just mean that we have
I guess it's just interesting
just-
that there's these constant iterations of the Batman, and they always seem to be getting it. Like each version, especially since Bale, has been great.
yeah.
Like Bale's been good, Affleck's been good, Pattinson is fucking excellent. The Joker since Heath, like Joaquin is really good, but you're still constantly like Heath. I think is pinnacle, isn't it?
Heath is pinnacle.
And he
But in a way as well, though, it is still an interpretation. It's not definitive comic book Joker.
Oh no,
either.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like, but it's like
Yeah.
as if like the thing I liked about Joaquin is that they decided not to do like
That, yeah,
an
that's
extreme
right.
different look and all this kind of stuff. Like if you
Yeah,
take the
yeah,
Gotham
yeah.
Joker, like it goes in that direction of the Heath version.
Yeah, he gets the scars and his face gets cut off.
He becomes
and everything.
really strange. Yeah, he cuts his face off.
Yeah.
I know that's in the comic,
right?
but
Yeah.
but that comic came after Heath too. Even the comics tried to go more extreme.
Yeah.
So he
yeah.
kind of set
He
him
did.
and
No,
Nolan
he did.
really set a standard,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
starting to
yeah.
just get a bit mad now.
I mean, I would
Really
I very much just want Mark Hamill's Joker on the screen, like just
It's at the moment. It's
yes.
like what's that band
We might get it
Dillinger?
someday.
No, is that it's called Dillinger something?
John Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yeah, right. It's like
Is that called?
metal gets fucking extreme, right?
Yeah.
And that's now the point that this Joker's at. It's like pull back a bit, lads. We want a bit of melody.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
you
Heath.
make him look like he's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
back to Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, that looks shit too.
any-
Yeah.
No, any surprises that it was delayed?
No, not really. I mean,
To be honest, I
I
forgot it was even
yeah,
supposed
I
to
wasn't
be
really,
this year. To be
I
honest,
wasn't really putting much pass on it. Like,
Okay.
so it being delayed, it's kind of like, oh, okay. But like that's nearly every game nowadays, isn't it?
I think if I was looking forward to it, it'd be like, oh no, you know.
Yeah.
But there's
I think
other
I
things
s-
on my radar.
I think I've seen in the comments as well in terms of reactions to it. Obviously, there are some people that just love everything DC and want to get their hands on anything DC as soon as it's announced. So they're disappointed because they're invested in any property, right? But there's a lot of people as well who are just like, I don't care. And I think there's just a lot of confusion around. I don't think they've shown enough of what the game actually will be for
Yeah.
people to be totally along for the ride.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was weird when they announced the year it was coming out, and as soon as we got into 2022, and still nothing about the game really. Like apart from the fact that yes, you're playing as the Suicide Squad or a version of the Suicide Squad, and you are going to have to fight the Justice League. Okay,
Yeah.
but it's like, but what does it play like? Like still
Well,
very
they-
little
they
on that, you know.
They kind of showed gameplay, but it's the same as what they did, like, you know, what the guys were doing for Spoken, where it's like very select kind of mishmash clips of gameplay where you're still kind of like, okay, but I still don't know the flow of this gameplay, really.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing like what Gotham Knights did when they were playing as Batgirl, and she drove along the motorbike and she went all the way to the Mr. Freeze's tower and was climbing up and fighting everyone, like showing a proper showcase. But it's kind of like,
See, the good thing about that showcase was people knew straight off the bat, it's like, this is not for me or this is for me. And straight
Yes.
away, then you had your divide of like, that's
Yeah.
off my radar or that's on my radar. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
What's weird
It's
about
like
this Suicide Squad is like, yes, it's a like DC property. I don't really have that much care about the Suicide Squad characters, so that's why probably I'm not that invested. But I don't really have that much care for Harry Potter either. But yeah, after seeing that Hogwarts presentation, I'm all in on that game. That game made me want to play a Harry Potter game.
yeah.
And yeah, this is any presentation they have of this so far. This should be easy in comparison because it's,
Right, yeah,
it's
and
comic book
it's-
characters.
And it's Rocksteady, and it's not like they are not a beloved studio in the gaming world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I imagine because it's not coming out now till 2023 or spring 2023.
We'll get more.
I am a DC fandom, I suppose, is where they'll showcase it again. But that'll be 3 DC fandoms in a row of the same. I kind of wish those games weren't stuck to DC fandom, that they could be, because they haven't been shown at anything else. And I feel like they're contractually obliged to only show a DC fandom. But I think
This kind of feels, to be honest, with its advertisement, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I'm not saying because Guardians of the Galaxy is actually quite good game. It's actually, but its advertisement was
It's
not
shockingly.
Well, I'm interested about that though. Is
It's
that 'cause
interesting.
I didn't really like to look at that, and again, I don't really care for the Guardians.
Nobody did.
But no, but I just mean Guardians in general, even the films.
Right, yeah, sure.
But is it good because you're expecting it to be bad, or is it genuinely good?
I think
A bit of
mix
both.
of both. Yeah,
Right.
Like the gameplay is still not that good.
it's
Okay.
yeah, it's fine.
It's adequate. You do it, and it's kind of like, actually, I kind of can't wait for this combat bit to be over. But the actual dialogue and the development of the characters and the story is actually really good, and it feels more like a Final Fantasy game, to be honest.
Okay.
You have your little intro, and then you meet the main villain, and then that's when shit hits the fan, and it's the entirety of the universe. I think is going to end. It gets high stakes.
You
great.
fight God.
You have to fight
Yeah.
God at the end.
You have to fight God at the end. in every Final Fantasy, you got to fight God at the end.
Yeah.
We established that early in our podcast. It is actually way better than it should have been, than it looked. I feel they marketed it so wrong. They did no favors to themselves in the marketing, because they marketed all the gameplay all the time, but actually it's way more story driven than that.
Yeah.
Now, there is a lot of combat, but it is a way more story-driven game than it looked to be. But so Suicide Squad might surprise us. It might surprise us, but I suppose we just need to see more from it. But let us know, everyone, if you're excited for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Is this on your radar? Is it not? What do you hope to see from the gameplay? And when in 2023? I know they said spring, but when do you hope it releases? Is it the earlier the better, or do you want them to take their sweet time and give you enough time between some of the other big games that are coming at the end of this year as well? You actually
Who
can
knows?
finish them.
Might
Who
be a
knows?
PS5 Pro launch title.
Wow, and let us segue onto that. Welcome to the rumor mill, everybody. Okay, so there's been reports during last week that supposedly there is a PS5 Pro in development, and that it will launch next year, 2023.
Madness.
What the hell do we think? And it sounds like total madness, but in one sense, they've looked at the previous console generation, and it lines up in terms of when the PS4 Pro launched after the PS4, right? Do we think we'll see a PS5 Pro next year?
Yeah, because they kind of did that with they didn't do a PS3 Pro, but they did release. They're always going to release variations of the consoles. So,
yeah. Do you think it'll be next year though?
Nah, I'll get delayed.
I think that the it's hard to know whether the rumor is that it would be announced next year or released next year, right? It's it could be announced next year for a release the following year, maybe.
That's more likely to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to get everyone a PS5 first.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Haven't even got PS5s yet.
Yeah, I really wasn't expecting them to do any of them or Microsoft to do a mid-console upgrade this time around.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me. They're really fucking weird this generation. Sony.
Yeah, well, yeah, because considering not every game is we got Horizon Forbidden West. You can still get that on PS4. Most games you can still get on the PS4.
God of War is going to work on PS4. We
haven't reached the PS5 exclusive. We have some PS5 exclusives, but we haven't reached the point where it's
pretty much every new game is
going forward.
Name a PS5 game out at the moment. Now, regardless of loading times, yes, okay,
sure.
Loading times might be different. But is there any game on the PS5 at the moment that actually wouldn't work at all on last gen?
Astro's Playroom.
That would work.
But buy that though. You have to buy a PS5 though. Yeah, that wouldn't work on the PS4.
No, I just mean that they couldn't have just released it on PS4 anyway.
Yeah, I get you. I can't think of any, but I don't like. But that was the same for the last generation up until a certain point as well, right?
No, Killzone Shadowfall wouldn't have played on PS3. That was a launch title. The graphics were way too intense for the PS3.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
PS3 had some seriously good graphics.
It did, but
at
the Shadowfall one, like, I mean, it's using the same engine as Horizon. Like, it's the lighting in that is insane. That it just wouldn't have run.
That was actually probably one of the best looking games on the PS4
for a long time.
Yeah.
Order 1886 probably wouldn't have run on PS3 either.
Definitely
But
not.
then-
no, definitely not.
No.
But then we said this before, didn't we? Where the jump between consoles gets smaller and smaller
Yeah.
with newer technology. Like the when we get to the PlayStation 6, it'll be like, what's the fucking difference? It'll be like night and day.
It comes in black.
It won't be night and day. It comes in black.
The problem is that this is supposed to be more of a hardware jump rather than a graphical. I mean, obviously, the graphics are going to improve and details are going to improve, but this was supposed to be haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, like surround sound sort of stuff. It's supposed to be hardware, the technicals of dragging the players.
Do you think all that stuff is being held back by cross-generational games?
Yes, like the fact that they still have to
and
put
cross-platform,
like Horizon on multiple consoles and multiple like platforms and all that stuff. They're not really going to focus down on things like now. They're still there. The adaptive triggers are still there. The haptic feedback isn't really there. And then with like Demon Souls, which is just a PS5 game, the haptic feedback is kind of there. Like you might walk into a bit of like a chair and the chair might crumble and you feel a bit of a vibration from that, but it's still not quite, if rain is pelting down, you're not feeling the raindrops. And I'm assuming with Miles Morales, it's kind of somewhat the same. The haptic feedback is there, but it's not as strong as what it could have been. And they're PS5 exclusives. So then when you get to, so this is supposed to be more of a hardware jump that we're not getting. So maybe, no, I mean, it's PS4 Pro. It's still going to be the problem with developers. Like,
did you guys say that because I don't have a Switch. So did you guys say the Nintendo Switch has haptic feedback?
Yes.
I think Adam did. I didn't know that.
Right. And have you ever played and I'm genuinely curious, I'm not like trying to make some kind of point, but have you played any game on the Nintendo Switch where haptic feedback is utilized throughout the whole game?
No, nothing outside of.
So is it possible?
1-2 Switch.
Is it possible? I'm sure. I'm sure it's possible, but is it something that people are actually going to do, or does it take way too much time and way too much resources?
Yeah, I think it's a time resources thing. It's also it's a research thing too. It's like, how do you like think about when games were first shifted from 2D to 3D, right? Now we take that shit for granted. The analog sticks is how we get around in that world. But when they first made 3D games, navigating in a 3D space was an incredibly challenging idea for a player. It's like, I've never done that before. How do I move around in it? And it wasn't until I think the N64's development of the analog stick, that was the solution, was to be able to move the camera and you get to move your character. It was like, wow, that's a mind-blowing idea. It was a single analog stick back then because it was such a new idea. Eventually we get better and better at that constant changing camera and changing character. And I think yourself, even first time you ever play a first-person shooter game, it kind of get hard. It's hard to get your head around that when the first time you play it.
I used to hate them.
Yeah. So that took, I would say, the first-person shooter and even just controlling characters in a 3D space probably took until the PS3 360 era to kind of nail that. That's 3 console generations. Really, to get that down, because if you even play PS2 games and early Xbox games, controlling the characters are very janky. Like, try play GTA 3. The camera doesn't quite behave how you would want it to, and you have to kind of wait for it to catch up or something like that. Metal Gear Solid also suffered from that, which is why you had the first person perspective every now and then, is to switch
that's
the
why
view.
That's why there's such a love for remakes, actually.
Yeah, because
you're bringing a game you love up
enhances the technology. Right. So with the haptic feedback, you've got you've got a bunch of things, right? Developers have to figure out, with the SSD, we can redesign how we would lay out a level, right? We don't have to have long corridors anymore because we can have the area load up quicker. We don't have to have long elevator rides because we can have the area. We don't have to jam to open up a door. So that changes the game and level design.
Yes.
That's just the SSD. Now they have ray tracing based on the thing. All right, so that's another feature that you can have the environment reflect. And on top of that, it's then the haptic feedback. Well, how much haptic feedback do we use per interaction within the game?
Yeah.
It's an insane level on a developer that they barely have time to just get a game going, never mind trying considering this. So really Sony needs to develop a package that just says click this button and it applies
these feelings or the sensation
so
to
this
this
is
environment.
like the footstep package.
Yeah.
And every game, it would all feel the same. Now, the developer could maybe tweak it if they wanted to. But let's say it's the default, this is what footsteps feels like in a game. But Sony needs to make that and say, here's how you...
Yes. Yeah.
So we got to realistically then check our expectations for haptic feedback. Because let's face it, that's going to take a while. That's not coming anytime soon.
It'll probably be, if they do somewhat get it to the level that they sort of promised, it'd probably be the end of the PS5.
Yeah, it's like
age.
when we get to that, whatever the Ghost of Tsushima of the PS5 era will be or something like that, like that's maybe when we'll really, really feel it.
What a game.
It's like, let's just talk about Ghost of Tsushima again.
Yeah.
But then so PS5 Pro, I mean, I don't even know what would it do? What would it do different than a PS5?
Massage your feet.
Well, the rumors is that, because at the moment the rumor sounds to be that it's going to be enhanced ray tracing. So if you're playing a PS5 game like Ratchet and Clank or even Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's a cross-gen, there's a couple of modes available, right? You have performance mode, which is the base game at high frame rate. You've got ray tracing mode, which is 30 frames per second, but it's got full ray tracing on. Or you've got this balance mode, which is like a slight bit of ray tracing with a slightly better performance. And the idea of this Pro model would be that there would be no kind of barriers in that end. It'll just be like you can have the performance plus the ray tracing. But that doesn't equate to a better game. That's not a better game. Like, really. Like, the fact that there's a couple of reflections.
Tell that to PC gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love that shit.
I mean, yeah, there's certainly a flex to the whole thing. But now not many people have the PS5 to begin with, never mind this another Pro.
Yeah.
And well,
there's still a chip shortage in the world, like, it's not just that people can't get their hands on a PS5 there's many reasons people can't get their hands on a PS5 in today's economic world and everything, right? But they actually can't make them. Never mind. They literally can't keep them on the shelves. The demand is higher than the amount of PS5s there are. So to me, it's crazy to even think about a PS5 Pro yet. Like a mid-cycle. I'm like, mid-cycle? Are you fucking kidding me? I know it's been out for 2 years, but like fucking nobody has it. A lot of people have it, but it's not nearly as many people as at this point had the PS4 2 years into its cycle.
Yeah, it's confusing as to why they would even consider it, because the whole reason of PS4 Pro was to gain interest in players that wanted the full like a 4K experience, improved VR, improved streaming capability. It's to try and stop players from switching over to PC, because halfway through a console cycle, players tend to just ditch the console and over to a PC, because it's only in the first few years is the console actually impressive. But that's not the issue here. The issue here is how readily available it is. And I think Sony needs to figure out how to make this thing smaller before considering making it more powerful.
That's probably going to be bigger.
Huge. It would be bigger. Like, look at the PS4 Pro in comparison to the PS4.
Yeah. Well, they can't make it bigger, can they? Like, they literally can't.
It'll be.
I know
It'll be the Burj. Is it the Burj Khalifa? Is that the name of the big ass tower?
Yeah.
That's what it'll be.
I don't think it would be a good idea to make a console any bigger. I don't know how you figure that out, or like, I mean, I'm no tech genius. I haven't a fucking clue how these things are made. I'm just impressed at all of it. But I mean, I do think that just because I understand why they have it in their plan to do a PS5 Pro, it will sell.
It'll be a good marketing tactic.
It's a marketing thing, and it's I'm sure it was part of the strategy. It was like, right, release the PS5, then we'll do the PSVR 2, then we'll do the PS5 Pro, and we'll just keep up to market on this. But I do think that if the rumors are true of it coming next year, that's too soon. Maybe that was in their original plan, but I don't think they foresaw this chip shortage in the world. So I think the plan does need to change.
What I could see them, the reasoning behind it is that I can't imagine how many people are actually buying the digital version of the PS5. I'd say
that's surprising people as well. I'd say they hoped to sell more of them.
So what I could see them doing is that they would replace that digital model with the baseline, but it's going to be a slimmer PS5, again, all digital, no disc drive. Drop it by about 50 quid. Right?
Yeah.
So that makes it way more compatible.
And call it the Pro.
No. That would be just a regular PS5
Oh, sure. I see.
So it's a full digital.
That becomes the base.
Slim model. It's 50 quid cheaper. Makes it way more competitive with the Xbox One S.
Right.
Still plays games shit hot. And then your Pro model stays the same price. It's about the size that it is, and that's the one with the disc drive in it as well.
Yeah.
And I could see them doing that because it would entice more players, especially if they can get their chips, if they have their manufacturing focusing on a more powerful chip. Then that would free up some of the manufacturing of. I know there's a chip shortage, but generally that stuff gets cheaper and the pipeline gets easier, so it allows them to push out more slimline models at a cheaper price, and get those games into people's hands.
Is this your 5-year economic plan there, Adam, for Sony?
Adam's figured out Sony's plan. He's like, he's
I'm just trying to figure out why would they do it? That's the only one I can think of, why they would do it.
You're like someone from The Big Short or something like that, trying to figure out the fucking stock markets of it all.
But it's like big changes set an industry standard, right? Like I feel like I don't even think it's a thing of we need to do a PS5 Pro for this reason. It's nearly like, well, we did that last time, so why wouldn't we do it this time? It's nearly like that because I feel like as well. And look at that kind of leads us on to our next topic, which is the other thing that's been in the rumor mill for a long time, and maybe a point that this comes out, it's already been announced. I don't know, but so the industry standard now is to have some kind of gaming subscription service. That's going to. It was inevitable. It was going to happen, whether this gets announced during the week or not. It's going to happen at some point, and that is this Project Spartacus to try and keep up with Xbox Games Pass. Now, I'm sure Spartacus is only a code name. I'm Spartacus, but I don't know what the hell they're actually going to call it. But what do we think about the possibility of this Project Spartacus? Does anyone know what it is even?
Well, it's their Game Pass competitor, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it not that?
Yeah, right. I'm just making sure that we all know what we're talking about. We're not talking about the movie Spartacus. Yeah, so basically it's going to be Sony's Game Pass competitor. And the thought so far is that it's going to have a 3-tiered payment scheme, with the highest tier giving you access to everything, the lowest tier being basically what PlayStation Plus is now, I believe, and the middle tier giving you access to all the old PlayStation games and stuff as well. I don't really know. No one really knows what it's going to be, but there is talk of it being a tiered payment scheme. But what do we think of Sony doing something like this?
I mean, it is only natural to do that. I mean, if you look at the likes when Netflix first branched off and went out to loads of countries. I mean, it wasn't that good, but loads of people were like, wow, streaming service, awesome. And then everyone has now done it. Amazon has their streaming service, Disney has it, Paramount now has it with their Halo TV show, which actually looks really good. I've seen stills and images. I've seen stills and images, and I'm like, the CGI on the CGI and the lighting on the elites is amazing looking. So I'd get that just to watch that show because that looks great. Anyway, but yeah, everyone has now done that. Hulu, Now TV, fucking I don't know. There's probably Foot Massage TV or something. I don't know what else there is. But there's loads of streaming services.
There is. So
it only made sense that when that sort of stuff comes into the gaming world, that everyone would try to do it. So Nintendo would probably, if they don't, or I don't know. Does Nintendo have one?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. Okay. Not
Kinda.
Again,
right.
Not fully up there yet, but yeah.
But they would probably then go for it.
Well, it's Sony have already been doing it, right? They've already been doing it, which is kind of PS Now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what they haven't done though is nailed it.
Yes.
They haven't nailed it in the way that
Yeah.
Xbox have nailed it to the point where people are like, all they talk about when it comes to Xbox is Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. Oh man, you got to get it for Game Pass. That's my Game Pass machine, you know?
It's Game Pass machine. Yeah.
Yeah. So they haven't nailed it in that way because everyone's like, oh yeah, PS Now. Yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah,
I've
tried it.
It, yeah.
It's fine. You need internet, like, you know what I mean? It's not quite.
Oh yeah.
It's not. It's like Netflix back when it first came to Ireland. You
I'm excited to see.
We're living in the Stone Age.
I'm excited to see what they can deliver with Spartacus because every single, like, Sony has always been shit hot with hardware, like really good with hardware. Every single time they come out with a console, the hardware is great. The software side of things is where they always like suck, really.
Yeah.
Like PS Plus was good. Like that was a really great but
idea.
Xbox ended up doing something similar anyway with the games with
Gold, right?
Well, the games with gold, and but the PlayStation Home bombed, was shit. The original PlayStation Network was shit. Cross game chat not available. Gaming online with a PS3 in general versus the Xbox was crap. The PlayStation Now is shit. They've tried Cryosity for their movies, crap. PlayStation Music abandoned it. Use Spotify. But they haven't actually demonstrated a single piece of like kind of solid networking. Because even I think they ended up hiring. Like I think their PlayStation Network now, or at least it was, they were using Microsoft technology and Microsoft servers and things like that to actually get the PS4 network running. But they haven't really demonstrated that they can do it. So I'm interested to see what is their solution. Because the problem is with the backwards compatibility. Microsoft have been working a long time since the 360 to really get backwards compatibility working across their systems. It was supposed to launch with the Xbox One. It was late in development, and they can do that on the hardware. They don't have to stream the game. And Sony have been really reluctant to do that, just partially because it's very, very difficult. It's very expensive, and it takes time away from the other things they want to develop. So that's why they have the kind of streaming with the PlayStation Now. But they need to prove that they can play a PS2 game natively on a PS5. Otherwise, what's the point? Or a PS3 game even.
Yeah, and is that the most exciting thing about a possible Project Spartacus? Is that it's the backwards compatibility, isn't it? It's not necessarily the because like, do you think that they'll do what Xbox do, which is that day one, baby, on the exclusives, day one? I don't.
Well, it's only for the first party titles, and maybe it depends if
like.
They
do you
can...
think like God of War Ragnarok? You can get that if you pay for this service. I don't think so. I don't think they'll do that.
Well,
I don't think so either.
Xbox didn't do that first with Game Pass, did they? Originally, Game Pass. Oh, that was straight away in the plan.
Yeah. And it's all like that's why they've been buying up so many studios. Is that like that becomes their day one launches? You know, because there is a complication with third parties.
Yeah. Like that wasn't exciting. I'm just being honest. That wasn't exciting last generation for Xbox. That you get their exclusives day one. That wasn't an exciting premise. That was just like, sure, okay. I don't care about Rise Son of Rome. Like, I don't give a shit. You're like, yeah, okay. I like Halo and I like Gears, but like in terms of the overall scope of what they have, it's like that's not that exciting.
Yeah.
Now it's exciting because of who they fucking bought. Now it's really exciting, and it's like, oh fuck, get your hands on an Xbox and just pay that subscription fee. You got it day one. Like, I already own Starfield. Now it's exciting, but I don't see Sony doing that.
Yeah, they rely so much on those sales for those first party games, and that's why they branched out into the PC as well to get more money because they can't get enough consoles out.
Yeah, Death Stranding is coming to PC this week.
I thought that was already... Is that already out?
No, it's going to PC this week. 30th of March, I believe. They announced that at the Future Game Show.
The mods in that are going to be insane.
Oh yeah, 100%. Everyone's gonna play a Solid Snake.
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it's
just gonna
like
put Metal
mod
Gears
number
in it.
1. Yeah, there's going to be Metal Gears all over the place.
Yeah.
They're gonna remake MGS1 in Death Stranding.
Oh, hell yeah!
You're like, stop doing
I
that
have
to
to
me.
get a PC now.
Just so I can play somebody else's mod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in fairness, though, the Metal Gear Solid 1
Yeah.
class.
When is that remake getting announced, lads? Come on.
I don't know, but there was actually, speaking of Metal Gear Solid, I think Oscar Isaac was saying as well that they still haven't. It's still
you're
going.
working through
The
the story,
development.
yeah.
They're still working through the climbing through the air ducts like Solid Snake, trying to get that story. Is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
You see now, what did I fucking say? What's so hard? The story's already fucking written. Stop making changes. Okay, just cut out what you don't need, but fucking make that first game.
That's probably the
Well,
bit.
hopefully-
That's probably
hopefully
the bit they're struggling with, Chris.
Yeah.
They're like, there is so much
Yeah, they're like,
exposition.
it's
Yeah,
like
the game is
he's like
10 hours
reading through
long.
it going, wait a minute, you can't cut this out. You can't cut that out. That's and they're probably going back and forth. It's like trying
And
to
they're
probably
probably
figure
like,
out what do you put out.
we do not need 6 like lectures on the like what's negative about nuclear war. It's like,
Well,
yes,
actually,
you do.
maybe
Yes, you do.
maybe we do.
Yeah.
Clearly, we
Someone
do.
didn't play Metal Gear Solid when they were a kid.
Yeah,
Or
and then
they
there's obviously like,
did, and they really sympathized with the villains.
yeah. We don't
Fuck.
need Vulcan Raven saying that you have blood from the east running through your veins. We do. It will play
That
into
will
it
play
for
it
movie
later.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
it's super important right now.
That is fucking important. Yeah, okay. So actually, but on the topic of Metal Gear Solid, you see, automatically, what interests me about the possibility of something like Project Spartacus is like, I want to play Metal Gear Solid on my current console.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hook up my other consoles and play
Yeah,
Metal Gear
yeah.
Solid. I can. But I want to play it in the comfort of my sitting room in my own setup as I have it now. And yes, I will pay to play Metal Gear Solid again. Are you kidding
Yes.
me?
That
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII, Devil May Cry 2, San Andreas, bring them
The
all back.
original Resident Evil games.
The original
Tomb
Resident, they're
Raider
very hard games. They're very
the
hard.
Silent Hill games, the Tekken
yeah.
games. Like there is a lot in the back catalog that it's like, oh, that's because I do think that there is a huge surge now in the retro, or what
Hot
has
Wheels?
now become retro.
Well, what's kind of
Racing.
Oh,
a
yes,
short
on
sight
PS1.
of the current president of Sony, or the PlayStation side of things, is that I think it was last gen when he kind of started to take over, and someone asked him about whether they're going to focus on backwards compatibility, and he basically, his ignorant comment was around people don't care about old games and we're focused on new games. I'm sure he's fucking biting himself now because there's no
Yeah.
like, what do you do in between though? Right? It's like, yeah, we want new games, but it's taken like it's taken a console generation to get these bloody games. So
Yeah.
fill us in between. Like we could be playing through. It's like if you're going, okay, Demon's Souls remake is coming out. How like people would want to play all the other games in anticipation, right? It's similar to like when a new fucking MCU movie's coming out, right? You tend to like maybe marathon the last few or something. You know, like people get hyped for this stuff and they want to they just want to soak it all in as much as they can, waiting in anticipation for the new game. And that was a great opportunity for them to and I think that's the thing with Spartacus is that it needs to be focused on backwards compatibility, at least for me, more so than brand new games, because I can just
Because I'm okay
just
with
buy
buying
the new game.
brand new games. I am okay with that. That's not a thing. If they don't do, because I think some people might feel, and it's perfectly fine if you feel that way because you might be used to what Xbox is doing now with Game Pass. Yeah, if you feel like that's the standard now, and you're like, well, why isn't it the standard on the other side? But I'm okay with having to buy the brand new game day one and paying for a service that gives me access to all these old games. That it's not a case of like, but you could just buy them individually. It's like, no, a lot of these are stranded and cannot be gotten digitally or not. Like they are stranded on old consoles and you cannot play them anymore unless you hook up your old console. The other exciting thing I think personally is like there is a huge, I mean, the whole industry shifted and changed with streaming, right? Like some people even that's how they experience games. They experience it through the stream. Like there's so many people love Elden Ring and they haven't played Elden Ring.
Yeah,
what
they're
they've
just
done
watching.
is they've watched other people play Elden Ring, but they've loved the journey and they've loved the ride. Like they're along for it. Like they're literally backseat gamers. They watch this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
If all these old games are available on a new console, which has the ability to stream straight to YouTube or to Twitch, then suddenly there's room for streaming all these old games without having to hook up some secondary device or anything like that. Like you can just straight from the console. And that's cool. That's exciting. I can't wait for all the kids to learn about Metal Gear Solid.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's exciting. That's cool. So
No, Timmy. No, Timmy. You put the controller down. You sit here for 2.5 hours and listen to them talk.
Listen.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
An interesting
Maybe Metal Gear
statistic
Solid
that
learned
kind
about
of
streaming.
cropped up. I don't know how, like if it's just regional or anything like that, but there was a bunch of shares done by Microsoft. Was it by Xbox or was it by Game Studios? But they were showing the amount of sales they had on a game before it hit Game Pass versus the amount of sales of the game once they hit Game Pass. So it actually turns out that people with Game Pass are buying more games because they're discovering games that they really enjoy and they want to support the developers, so they actually end up buying it.
Oh,
cool. So that's nearly like, I know they have
That's twice the amount of money that they would get.
Yeah. But I know they have the full game through the subscription, but it is nearly like trialing a demo back in the day.
Yeah.
And going, oh, I love this, and then going out and buying the game.
Yeah,
even though, yes, I know you can...
equivalent of renting it down when it used to be like the
right,
extras
and then
and
you
the
go,
blockbusters.
I love that so much, I gotta own it. I'm gonna buy that.
yeah,
because it's not there
Yes.
forever. You see, not all games stay on Game Pass.
yeah.
Some games that I do think could end up on something like Spartacus Day 1, though, right? Like, I don't think it's all going to be PS3 downwards, if you know what I mean.
No, yeah.
Like, I do think something like the Miles Morales game could probably be straight on it. You know, the Lost Legacy could be straight on it. Some of these other big hits that they're not old, but they've been around a while enough. And also, often they don't sell on their own anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
At this point, people have already bought them, or they came as a package with the console, or whatever.
Order
it
on
was.
sale.
Order on sale, yeah. So those are things that could be straight on it, where it's like, this is new shit, and it's on it. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition could be on it, you know, that kind of stuff. But I just don't see Horizon Forbidden West, for example, being on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's only new, and they're still selling that thing. Like, it wouldn't really work that way.
That was very unfortunate. Its timing of coming out, actually.
Well, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
How they could get around that though is if they don't have new games on it, they could possibly put films on the service.
Oh, the Sony films, like
Sony owned
Uncharted
movies.
movie could go straight to it, and
That's actually
that.
So then
the
they could
fifth
have
highest grossed movie.
They could have
Video game movie.
kind of old new games, let's say, ones that are like launched at the beginning of the console. All the brand new games, they're not available for now, but they would have movies, which is something that Game Pass actually doesn't have.
And the other thing is the games that might not come day one. The idea is obviously that they will come eventually. And if you are one of those people who decides, I'm going to wait till that game goes on sale, like a lot of people don't justify spending the money that a game costs day one, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just don't justify for themselves. And they would wait till the sale. But maybe paying the subscription is even cheaper than waiting for the sale. That when it eventually comes on, you've already been paying for it. So people might wait till then to play a game. And that's fine too. That's because that's your choice. Like if you wait anyway, if you're not a day one person, then there you go. But yeah, I don't see them doing the God of War Ragnarok is going to be on this day one. It's like, I don't think so.
No, because
it'd be a surprising move by them if they did.
If they did do it, you'd have a lot of fucking subscriptions straight away.
Yeah.
The hype for that game is ridiculous, and at the end of this year, it's going to be God of War Ragnarok versus Elden Ring for Game of the Year. I think everything else might as well just like take a step back. There's like, I knew Elden Ring was like well loved. I knew that there was a lot of anticipation for it. It won most anticipated game 2 years in a row at the Game Awards. 12 million sales. Holy fuck. You can't argue with the math. Like, people obviously love the fuck out of this game, and it got 10s out of 10s across the board. So it's definitely going to be a contender at this year's Game Awards, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, what are we playing at the moment before we finish up this week's episode? Or what have we been playing lately? I won't say at the moment because we're not playing anything right now. We're talking to each other.
I'm still on Horizon Forbidden West. Haven't actually played in a good few days, but that's still technically what I'm playing.
Yeah, nice. Oh, Adam's like,
I'm
I'm
trying
letting
to
you all
think.
down.
I'm trying to think. When
I'm
was the
giving
last
out
time
about all these other consoles and services and games, but I'm not playing a fucking thing.
I'm trying to think what was the last game I played and when.
You busy boy.
Yeah, I can't think actually. I don't know what was the last thing I played and when it was. It's been a long time.
Excellent.
Well, probably was something on Game Pass.
Probably
was,
yeah.
you know.
Maybe it was Halo actually. Halo Infinite.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I have to jump back into Halo Infinite. I haven't finished that. I did finish the main story to Horizon Forbidden West, so I'm just going around doing the side content now, all the stuff that I didn't go around doing because I was like, I haven't got time for this. Now I'm like, I've got time for this. I can do this now. And so that's enjoyable because it just feels like lots of end game content. It's fun.
Cool.
And I've also been playing Lego Lord of the Rings, thanks to backwards compatibility on the Xbox Series X. With Ash, we've been playing that, and that's been a bunch of fun. Not consistently, but every so often we go, we throw it on and do another level.
Do you have Lego Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Oh,
We played through them. Yeah. And we're really excited for Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, which is releasing 5th of April. Can't wait. Gonna play through all 9 movies, baby. Let's do it. Let us know, everyone else. What are you playing at the moment, and what do you think about Project Spartacus? Is it something that you have an interest in? What do you think they'll actually do with the tiered system? Like, do you think they will put new games on it day one, or do you think it'll be more about the backwards compatibility? And if so, what games would you be jumping into first if they were available on it? Also, if you have any thoughts about anything else that we brought up in this episode, we'd love to hear from you guys. If you've been watching on YouTube, please jump down in the comments to share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this discussion, please do us a huge favor by giving us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, click that notification bell so you know when all future episodes and bonuses go out. Listen to us on audio platforms, and you can also touch base with us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take to give your take on everything we brought up here today. And check out our link tree, which is always shared in the description of either the audio platforms or the YouTube section, so you can check out all of our links to our social media and follow us there. Thank you very much for listening, everybody, and we'll be back to talk to you guys about more awesome stuff next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I think I'm going to get a title cards for us. I'm just going to have Negative Nancy written right here. Debbie
That's
Downer.
you, Debbie Downer. You're Mr. Negative. That's your
it.
supervillain.